Hey everyone, welcome to another video. I know it's been a while that I've made a video on my channel, but yeah, in view of the incoming RG season in Singapore where the Salas and the Lolongs actually come in abundance, I've decided to kind of make more content that are RG related lah. So do let me know in whether it's DM, comments, or whatever way that you can find to contact me. Yeah, just let me know what you want to see, what you want to know more about, and I will try my best to accommodate. So recently I posted an Instagram story to gather questions about RG fishing, and some of them are really good questions and I will address them as accurately as possible in this video. I also went through comments from my previous Ajing video, which I'll link in either description or at the top or something. So in the previous video, I had a whole talking series about Ajing because during COVID cannot go out. But I went through the comments to kind of see what people are asking, what people want to know, and I tried to fit as much questions in this video as possible. So I'll try to answer as much. I have come up with about 10 questions to answer, and I hope to do that in the shortest time possible. But before we get into the video, do help me out a little bit and drop a like, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell. It will really mean a lot to me, guys, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Okay, so without much further ado, let's get into the video. First question from the Instagram story: can I use an L-rated rod instead of a UL-rated rod? So an L-rated rod is a light-rated rod, and light-rated has a very vast variety of what is considered light-rated. And then UL also, there's a lot. There's like chalk rods, there's glass rods, there's Ajing rods, there is light rock rods. So for me, it honestly just really depends on how deep into Ajing or how purely you want to get. So if you want to be like very very pure, then you'll be looking at Ajing rods like with very sensitive blanks like the Zesta Extra Tune or like the Koto with titanium tips and stuff like that, yada yada yada. For me, if I'm a person that is just starting Ajing or want to kind of have a taste of what it's like, any UL rod or L rod that has a thin blank, solid and sensitive blank-ish would get the job done. Something that I can cast 1 to 8 grams comfortably would be perfect. Of course, if you want to have the best experience, then I would recommend looking at an affordable or entry-level Ajing specific rod. Okay, second question. What if I want to do both Ajing and light rock? So here's where my recommendation would come. This rod is the Graphite Leader Koto. This one is the made in Japan one in 2018. Okay, it's out of production, but Graphite Leader has since made a new model called the Koto UX. So Koto UX and this model of Koto specifications are pretty similar, which I would say if you're looking at getting a rod that can do Ajing and light rock, this is a versatile rod. So this rod I use for my shore Ajing, my light rock, and also my offshore Ajing or micro jigging rod. The specs are 0.6 to 8 grams. Okay, 0.5 to 8 grams, sorry, with a max of 4 pounds line. So I would think that if I'm not wrong, the specs on the Koto UX 610 model are also similar. So yeah, and it doesn't break the bank. So you can use this rod as a versatile rod for both. I personally enjoy using this rod for my Sela and Lolong game, as well as when I go for hunt for Jermin or yeah, light rock fishing lah. And then if you are looking for something that can cast even higher, like maybe up to 12 grams, then you can look at probably some of the major craft rods like the Sopara or cross stage kind of Ajing rods. And also the Shimano also has some rods under Soare that can do up to 12 gram. Like I think Haziq uses a Soare BB that can cast up to 12 gram, 0.6 to 12 gram. So perfectly covers all ranges of this Ajing and light rock category. So the third question would be, can I use a rod rated 1 gram to 8 gram for Ajing? Yes, you can. It really depends on the terrain and the area that you are fishing. 1 to 8 gram to me is a little bit more, or rather the 4 gram to 8 grams category is probably light rock to me. But yeah, 1 gram to 4 gram is also considered Ajing. If you can feel your jig head, then of course go ahead and use it. But like I said, if you want to have a better experience out of Ajing, it's always recommended to get a more Ajing specific rod, which maybe if you want to specifically target like the Lolong and the Selah, then something like the Z-Star, Black Star, signal transmitter, or like the extra tune. Yeah. So the fourth question would be, can I use a BFS reel for Ajing? Certainly, you most certainly can. There is an increasing number of people who are exploring BFS Ajing. It's been around for quite a while, and I've seen a lot of the developers are coming up with more and more BFS Ajing rods for BFS reels. So yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. You just need to choose your line properly. If I were to get into it, I would personally prefer using like PE 0.1 or PE 0.2 PE lines because it's more resistant. Alright, so the next question would be, can polyester lines be used on baitcaster reels? Yes, they can. I've seen people who have done it, but it's a bit scary to me. Like, you have to be a bit more careful when you cast and everything, because polyester lines are a little bit more sensitive. They tend to break much more easily than PE lines. So just need to be careful. But I heard that it can get quite good distance because of the diameter of the line, very thin and very smooth. Yeah, but it's not something that I'll see myself trying anytime soon or ever. So the next question will be a little bit backtrack. What kind of lines are there for Ajing and how do I choose? So for me, I've known of quite a few lines. There are fluorocarbon lines, like full-on fluorocarbon lines, full spool for Ajing, nylon lines, polyester lines, and PE lines. But the two main types that are most commonly used are the polyester lines and the PE line. So why do people use polyester is because of the density. So it cuts through water and it can sink much faster. So it helps you get your jig head as a very light jig head down to your strike zone as fast as possible. And then another thing is also for polyester lines, they tend to be finer, so the fishes cannot really see your line, so your hit rate may be higher. But the downside to polyester is it breaks easily, especially when you rub against jetty pillars or rocks or barnacles. Then the other line is PE lines, which people also use for Ajing up to like 0.4. I've seen people use 0.6, but to me it's a bit thick. I personally use PE 0.1 to PE 0.4 for PE line category lah. Yeah. But how do I choose between these two lines? Generally, if I'm fishing from shore and I'm targeting Selahs and Lolongs, then I would choose polyester lines from maybe 0.2 to about 0.3 diameter. Then if I'm fishing like light rock or maybe German or whatever, then I would use a 0.4 or 0.3 or 0.2 PE line so that I have stronger resistance against the larger fishes that I might possibly get lah. Yeah, as simple as that. So following that, another question about lines. If I'm using polyester lines, do I need a shock leader and why? Well, I've met some people who have done without leaders at all, so meaning they use polyester and then they just tie to their jig head, then they cast. I definitely do recommend attaching a fluorocarbon shock leader, just because the fluorocarbon shock leader, that 1 meter, has more shock resistance than your polyester, and then it will also lower your chances of losing your precious expensive jig heads. Yeah, that's my simple explanation. And also, you never know when you're going to get a bigger specimen. The shock that the fishes, like especially Selahs and Lolongs, come at, you never know when it can break your line. Yeah. Okay, so the next question will be, how do I choose my jig head weights? For me, I choose by terrain and species. So I have a whole range of jig heads that I use from 0.3 grams all the way up to 5, 6, 8 grams for light rock. So how do I choose the specific jig head weight? So example, if I'm fishing for salas and lolongs at, let's say, Labrador Park, where the water is not very deep, I would kind of generally choose a 0.9 to 1.2 and up to 1.5 gram jig head. So 0.9 when the current is slightly slower and I can really reach the bottom. Then 1.2 for in the middle and 1.5 for if the current is stronger. Then I'll flick it out further and let it flow to where the fishes are. And generally those jig heads 0.9, 1.2 and the 1.5 are kind of the ones that I use for Sela and Lolong lah. And then for heavier jig heads, I would use them at terrains where they are rocky, more rocky, or if I'm using a larger rubber for like jermin or maybe hunting the reef species like groupers, emperors, snappers or mangrove jacks. Yeah. More into the Ajing jig heads category, why do we use so light jig heads? Because most of the time Ajis are at either of the water columns, so that sometimes they're at the top where they are boiling, then you want to use something lighter, which sinks slower. Then if they are at the middle, you want to use something maybe 1.5 or 1.2 so you can reach them faster and really search the column. Very rarely I see them at the bottom column, so if you need to reach the bottom, then maybe like a 2.5 gram would work lah. But I generally do not use that heavy because I don't see the point, especially in a jetty environment where the depth is not as much. Unless there is one spot, the MCE spot, where it's deep water, right? Then maybe I'll use like 2.5 or 3 grams with a small hook so that I can really sink all the way to the bottom and really just like search all the way up the columns and stuff like that. The second last question I have on my list for today is, does color matter? So this question was also asked on Instagram and I think it's a fairly good question to address. Color to me does matter. How do I choose the color of my soft plastics? Natural colors. Honestly, natural colors. So in this broad category of natural colors, you'll see something like, this one is a bit inverted, I don't know if you can see, but this one is really just translucent. Then there's a little bit of a yellowish translucent color and a darker opaque white kind of thing, and also peach colors from AJVM, this one solid killers, these kind of colors as well. And then natural for like daytime hunting jermin, you will want to have like anchovy colors lah, something that if you're fishing on the sand flats, a black color rubber like this anchovy would look like maybe a dying anchovy fish or something. They just hop hop hop, just do it all the way lor. Yeah, just try your best. So there are some colors that are more natural at night and more natural in the day. So in the daytime, if the sun is shining, actually AJVM has a chart on this, but for me I usually go back to my standard colors, which are these that I've shown you. Sometimes I have bright colors like orange, pink or bright lime green. Those rubbers or those soft plastics are more for when the waters are murky at night and I know the fishes are there but they are murky and they are a bit finicky. Then I'll try to have a little bit of brighter color to let it stand out a little bit lah. But for me, I generally see myself using a lot of natural colors majority of the time. Okay guys, we are down to the last and final question for today. If you haven't already, please give me a like on this video and a subscribe onto my channel. Do turn on the notification bells as well so that you get notified whenever I post a video. Although it's not often, but you know, if I do, then you get notified. So yeah, thank you guys. So the last and final question, where do I cast? With or against the current? So taking jetty environments like Bedok Jetty for an example, if you were to face the end of the jetty, which is the T junction, right? when you're at a T-junction, you look out, you see ships. Okay, so the ship anchors are always at the front. So how do you tell which way the current is flowing? Is basically which way the ships are facing. So if the front of the ship, let's say this is the front, and the front of the ship is facing towards MBS side, means the current is coming from MBS side, because the anchor is at the front and it's pushing the whole boat to the back. Okay, if the ships are facing the other way, means that the current is pushing towards MBS, which means generally for me I would cast against the current lah, because the theory is that the fishes are facing up current. As the current comes down, right, the fishes are facing this way or this way, whichever way it's coming from, so that they just need to, the only effort they're putting in is to balance themselves. They are not swimming against current, they just maintain position and let the water flow through their gills. Yeah, that's the theory lah. But in general, if I'm casting against current and I'm not getting much bites, I would just go and try casting all around different directions, let it flow out and try lah. Yeah, so that's my take on it. That's pretty much all I have for today's video. I know it's not much, but I hope it answers some of your questions. And yeah, it would really help me if you can, again, like, subscribe, and share this video to your friends who might be interested in learning Ajing. I hope to see you guys on the waters during this Ajing season, and I wish you guys all the best. And yeah, take care, God bless, thank you for watching, bye bye.